I'm Boris the Bee Guy, Forest Beehive Apiary, Central Maine. Here I'm holding a deep Layens brood frame. All natural comb, no foundation. See if you can spot a queen. I'm in Central Maine, close to the 45th parallel north. The 45th parallel north marks the beginning of the region known to many northeastern U.S. beekeepers for its long winters and short beekeeping season. Alaska starts at about 54th parallel north. So what does Alaska have to do with bees, honey, and sugar? Quite a bit. Did you know that many beekeepers in Alaska don't even try to overwinter their bees? They euthanize them every fall because without intensive intervention, the bees in Alaska aren't expected to survive the winter. In the spring, these beekeepers simply start over with the new bees. Other Alaskan beekeepers use intensive intervention. They replace the bees' honey with massive amounts of sugar and even overwinter the bees inside insulated buildings. Now, Central Maine isn't Alaska, but it faces the same challenge: harsh winters that are simply too long and a beekeeping season that's just too short. For years, I tried to catch feral survivor swarms here in Central Maine. Never caught a single one. I'm miles away from other beekeepers, so swarms from other managed colonies are unlikely. Here we have an abundant forage, and yet I haven't found a single feral survivor colony. Feral colony survives the winter on its own honey, or it doesn't survive at all. Just like feral colonies, bee colonies managed without supplemental sugar feeding must survive our long winter on their own honey. Even for my frugal Russian bees, the overwintering champs, our long winters can be challenging, and their honey reserves can dwindle before early spring forage becomes available. And here's the problem. On the one hand, smaller, more compact bee nests survive winter better. It's easier for the bees to keep them warm. On the other hand, long winters require more honey than a smaller, more compact bee nest can hold. But there's a way to solve this dilemma without replacing the bees' honey with sugar while still keeping the bee nests compact. My solution is simple. I preserve some of the bees' own surplus honey by storing it in the freezer until it's needed. Later, if the bees begin to run short of honey, for example before spring forage becomes available, I simply give them back their own honey instead of sugar. A standard lab indicator of honey freshness is an enzyme called diastase. It gradually degrades during room temperature storage, but not in the freezer. Freezing largely preserves honey freshness, so after defrosting, the bees get their own fresh honey back. And they get it at a critical time when no forage is available, for example in late winter or early spring. Storing and later giving the bees back their own honey is also useful during a summer dearth. Here, it usually lasts a couple of weeks, starting at the end of July. I still have some partial frames in the freezer to give back to my bees. I see my role as the bees' resource manager, safekeeping their honey and giving it back when needed to make their winters shorter and their foraging season longer. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe.